just a moment or two, but we welcome Mr. Snyder back to the program. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael Patrick.
I know you're on your way here to West Michigan, and we certainly appreciate that. And I'm sure you've seen the numbers this morning. Let's start with that. Your lead right now on Democrat candidate Virg Bernero, 53 to 29%. What we're being told by Epic MRA. And even though the Democrats now have been running some commercials, running some spots, talking about you outsourcing jobs to Gateway, taking a couple of shots at you, your lead remains big. Why?
Well, because I believe it's the right message. I mean, people are ready to reinvent Michigan. They're tired of the old system. It's time to move on. Stop looking in the rearview mirror. And people have had enough of career politicians and politics. They've had enough of attack ads. We need to look at the issues in Michigan. We need more and better jobs, and we need to keep our young people here. And I really appreciate the support of people to say it's time to rally together as Michiganders and get away from the old broken system. Let's look to a bright future, and, hey, let's just go.
That's a 24-point lead, though, and most of the pundits have been saying that number is going to get smaller. No sign of it so far. Do you think you can carry this kind of lead all the way to the general? We've got, 47 days left?
Well, I don't get carried away with the polls too much because, again, they're just polls. The poll that really counts is November 2nd, and it would be normal to see that lead narrow in some fashion, but I'm very proud of the results that are showing up today, and we're working hard to continue that path to get more and more people on board with our plan to reinvent Michigan.
Maybe you saw the news yesterday that for the first time in decades, more people in the United States of America voted in the Republican primaries than they did in the Democratic primaries. What do you think that means?
Well, people do want to look and say, we need to look at new ways of doing things to the future, and we need to be very fiscally responsible because we need to be responsible not only to ourselves in terms of how our government operates, but to our children. And one of the challenges at the Washington level is the amount of the national debt going up with all the programs and spending that's taking place. I mean, this is something we don't want to leave the legacy that's being created now for our kids if we could help it in terms of too much debt burden for the future.
The last time we talked, you were going to have a private cup of coffee with Virg Bernero, the Democratic candidate for governor, the mayor of Lansing, and you were going to talk about the idea of not only debates, but just a wide-ranging conversation. Have you had that cup of coffee yet?
Not yet. Looking forward to it, though.
Is it scheduled?
We're actually talking about that. Hopefully we'll get something scheduled fairly soon. And hopefully we can, the mayor asked for a private cup of coffee. The biggest challenge will find some place where we won't have all you and your colleagues coming, too.
Well, I'm sure that you can find some spot. Maybe if you go to the Lions game this weekend, nobody will be there.
Well, we want the Lions to come back, too. I view it as the Wolverines, the Lions, and Michigan. We're all reinventing ourselves in a positive way. So we're all making progress.
The mayor did sort of attack you yesterday on your business tax proposal. He was with small business people in the Detroit area. He thinks that your business tax idea could actually be a tax increase for small companies. Did you see that criticism, and what did you make of it?
That's just another inaccuracy that people are throwing out to, again, gather attention to try to bring me down. The tax plan I put out there is just wonderful for business. It's actually a major tax reduction and helps small business, helps all businesses. It brings the tax burden down on every kind of business you can think of. So it's, again, people just trying to resort to the old-fashioned politics, and people are getting really tired of that.
Do you like this proposal that the president has to help loosen up cash for small businesses that I guess is going to make some progress today in Washington? Or do you think that's just another bailout? Some people say that that's the problem with that idea.
Well, one of the issues with all that is that's just another huge package of complexity they're talking about. We do need to do things to help small business. But how they approach things in Washington, I haven't seen anything simple, fair, and efficient coming out of Washington in a long time. So there's better ways to do things. And then I come back to the focus right here in Michigan. I'm running for governor of Michigan, and the most important thing we can do is get rid of the Michigan business tax, as I've said from day one, and replace it with this flat 6% corporate income tax. Let's just get an environment here that'll work well to get the government's foot off the neck of business here and allow them to create jobs, because job creation is the bottom line.
Yeah, and as you say that, we find out this morning that Michigan's unemployment rate stands at 13.1%. That's unchanged from last month. Big job losses reporting in manufacturing, government and professional, and business services. I guess if you want to talk about the fact that the job levels have stabilized since last year, that's okay, but it doesn't seem like we're making any gains.
Well, the other problem we have, besides having too high of an unemployment rate, Michael Patrick, is the problem of underemployment. We have a huge unemployment problem, but we also have a huge underemployment problem, where we had people that had, really well-paying jobs that are now, working in fast food or some kinds of retail or service industries that are making significantly less. That's had a major impact on them. We need to get good-paying jobs for our citizens, both in terms of the number of jobs available and what they're being paid.
All right, the Lansing Mayor Verge Bernero, your opponent, is going to be here in the lobby in about an hour. Do you want me to pass a message to him in terms of a meeting location for that coffee?
Well, you brought up the coffee shop the other day, but now you need a Grand Rapids location since you're remote today.
Okay, we'll do it. Travel safely on your way out here, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Take
Thank
care.
you very much. Maybe the Ford Museum in the Oval Office might be a good place for the two of them. We'll close down the museum for a day or two. They're only going to do 20 minutes is what I'm told.